Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, the 2022 MLB season is in full swing right now. From high-scoring games to crazy walk-offs to epic fights that we rarely get to see in baseball. This season is off to a hot start. And speaking of hot starts, Jose Ramirez, Cleveland Guardian player, he is absolutely ridiculous right now. He is in first place right now with the RBIs. Now, what's so great about being in first place? Well, one, it's first place, but him being in first place right now is actually impressive because he is literally 8 RBIs ahead of the next guy. Like literally second place, it has like 24, has like 23, 24 RBIs, and he's sitting at 31 right now. Jose Ramirez is crazy, ridiculous, and crazy good right now when it comes to being able to score. Because he is the backbone of why the Guardians can score on a consistent basis. Because with how good Jose Ramirez is doing right now, let's say he can keep this up by averaging an RBI every single game for the entire season. He does that, he's going to get around 150 to 160 RBIs. And the last time that we saw someone get 150 was all the way back in 2007 when Miguel Tejada got 156. It's been 15 years since the last time someone hit 150 RBIs in one season. And as of right now, it looks like that Jose Ramirez might potentially be able to do that, but we're still early in this season and we gotta wait till about till probably just a little bit past halfway to see if he can see where he could possibly land on that RBI list and where he's gonna benefit himself on a statistical standpoint. If he can keep up this RBI pace, he's definitely going to have a record-breaking epic season just for himself on an RBI standpoint. Now, another reason of why this MLB season is off to a hot start is 4 teams between 2 cities are all at the top. Who are they? LA and New York. Mets, Yankees, Angels, Dodgers. These guys are the Dodgers and the Yankees. Those guys, not surprising because Yankees are 20 and 8, and the Dodgers are 19 and 7. Not surprised that those 2 teams are in first place. What's surprising is the Angels and the Mets that are in first place, where the Mets are 20 and 10, and the Angels are 19 and 11. Like, with these 2 teams, I really can't tell who to lean more towards on what's more surprising on how surprising this is, on how great they're doing just the start of the season, not even being 30 games in. Only like 2 or 3 teams right now have played like 30 games. But if I had to pick one, I'm actually leaning more towards the Los Angeles Angels. They're a team that's used to being in last place, between 3rd and 4th place year in and sometimes 2nd year in and year out. And Mike Trout has had to suffer for long enough, and now he might have a great team on his hands. From Anthony Rendon to Tyler Ward, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout himself, and Noah Syndergaard. Those are the best players that they got right now. Like literally 3 all-star players and 2 all-star pitchers, and one's a hybrid, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. But is Shohei Ohtani a robot? Who knows? Because this guy's way too damn good at baseball. Like, how the hell is he able to do what he's doing? Be able to get 10 strikeouts in a game and then go off for 6 RBIs as well. Like, how do you do that, Shohei Ohtani? Teach us, or teach everyone in Major League Baseball your ways, because we definitely want to see more of you, because the last time we saw a version of you was over 100 years ago when it was Babe Ruth. Now, with the Mets, it looks like that my prediction for NL MVP is right there with Pete Alonso. He's doing pretty solid. He's like right there, but he all around he is playing absolutely great, along with Francisco Lindor, and he just got out of his slump after going like a few games without a hit, and he finally gets his hits back and gets back into rhythm against the Phillies as they beat them in a doubleheader yesterday. First game 3-2, second game losing 3-2 to the Phillies in the first one, and then winning the second one 6-1, and that's what's their record at 20-10. But here's the scary thing about the New York Mets. Their best pitcher hasn't even played a game yet, and it's Jacob deGrom. This dude was going to have a historical season on last year. If he didn't get that tightness injury in his pitching arm. Jacob deGrom had an unbelievable, or was having an unbelievable season last year. He was about to pull off numbers that we haven't seen in like 60, 70, literally like between 50 and 70 years by a single pitcher. That's how ridiculous Jacob deGrom was last year. Whenever he comes back fully healthy for this season, they could win the World Series at what the Mets are doing right now, scoring 5+ runs a game, and having superstar pitcher, two superstar pitchers in Jacob deGrom and the strikeout master in Max Scherzer. This team is World Series potential, but still very early in the season. Let's see where they're at when it's in the between 60, 70, and 80th game, when we're about halfway through this season. Where are they going to be? Are they still going to be in first place? Who knows? But they get Jacob deGrom back, I think it's over, and they're the World Series champions. Because as of right now, the New York Mets, in my opinion, is the best team to watch in any game, because we got there's so many exciting young players on this team, from Pete Alonso to Francisco Lindor to Jacob deGrom, and those are practically their three best players right now. So what can the Mets do when they get Jacob deGrom back? Now, speaking of back, Nikola Jokic got back-to-back MVPs, and to a point a little bit controversial because Joel Embiid and Giannis and a couple other players had unbelievable seasons for them as well, but and you can disagree all you want, but this season belonged, MVP belonged to Nikola Jokic, because he did something that no other player has ever done in NBA history, which is get 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in one season. Nikola Jokic is unbelievable. And what's cool is that he's now the 12th player in NBA history to win back-to-back. He is also the second player. He's also the second player to win back-to-back MVPs since 2019. Not that long. But it's crazy because now we're starting to see foreign players might be better than American players now, because now we got Luka Doncic, we got Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, all these fantastic elite foreign players. It looks like that the foreign players are about to take over, and American is going to be left in the dust when it comes to talent, because the last 4 years, they were both won back-to-back by two different players, and both of them are foreign players, with Nikola Jokic from Serbia and Giannis Antetokounmpo from Greece. Hell, I'd start looking overseas a lot more for any team from now on, because it looks like that foreign countries, foreign teams like Australia, Italy, Lebanon, from all those teams, looks like you might have to start searching there if you want to find your miracle or you want to find a diamond in the rough. Like, that's the way to go. It's what it's starting to look like, because these foreign players are getting elite. Now, speaking of elite, Luka Doncic is unbelievable when it comes to the playoffs. This dude knows how to take it to another level. And I'm not just talking about that extra level where you need to go to. And normally in playoffs, he got like, and it'd be going from 1 to 10, and he's at the 10. He knows how to go to 11. This dude is ridiculous. Scoring 33 points a game, per playoff game. And he finally got to the second round after losing to the Clippers in back-to-back years in the first round. Now he's playing Phoenix. They just tied it up, winning back-to-back games against the Phoenix Suns, who have the most wins and is the #1 team in the league this year at 64-18. Dallas with Luka. If Luka's not in Dallas, Dallas is not the team that they are today. Luka is that team, and he, per usual, goes off. I mean, he didn't go too much up, but had a great game and got 26 points, while Devin Booker got 35, but still ended up coming out with the victory, winning 111-101 to tie up the game. And this game was kind of interesting because, like, it was a battle all the way through. Great defense, great offensive scoring, broken ankles went the way to manipulate defenses and for each team to get to the basket. But the game is not actually the most important thing to talk about. The Dallas game, or Dallas versus Phoenix, this game doesn't matter based on what happened towards the end or after the game in Game 4, where sources are saying that people were putting hands on Chris Paul's family. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much of an ego you got, how much people are talking crap, trash talking. I do not care. You don't put your hands on anybody for no good reason, even if you are just like in your freaking feelings. Like, it is amazing what some of these fans do to these players, because sometimes, like, I get these players shouldn't talk back because it's going to get them screwed and make them have to pay fines and all that. But you don't realize that with these players, I mean, the coaches are there too, but the people that analyze the sport and have never truly played the game, they don't understand where fans are to a point, the best and the worst at the same time. They'll cheer you in your best moments, but even when it's like a good, solid moment or just a normal moment, those fans can turn on you and just be a bandwagon or even screw over themselves. Because why did this even lead to, and this is on Mother's Day too, like, this is supposed to be a day of like celebrating how great mothers are. Like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, how do you even have the audacity to put your hands on somebody for no good reason? It makes absolutely no sense, because what Chris Paul said, and what other sources are saying, they said that his kid's wife and mom were all having their hands put on them aggressively. Like, if it's me, you touch my family, you have permission to touch them up. You literally have permission to rough them up, or I'll do it myself because you're not touching my family. That's ridiculous. Like, these type of fans don't deserve to go to great games or playoff games like this. Like, fans are like, I get that you can get caught up in the heat of the moment, but it never should lead to a moment where you have to lay your hands on anybody in any situation. It's a game. It's a game. Like, come on. Now, speaking of games, Game 4 Boston has officially tied it with Carolina, and it looked like, based on the first 2 games of where they were in Carolina and playing them, like this was completely reciprocated at like between both home games for each team. Because for Carolina, they won 4-1. They won 5-1, and then like 4-2, and then the Boston Bruins did the same thing in their home court. So these final 3 games are going to really tell on how this series could end up. And right now, I'm thinking this series will go 7 games. 4 games in, and it's a seesaw series just based on, because 2 games Carolina whooped them, and then 2 games where Boston whooped them. And I know for a fact how much of a different series would this be if the Carolina Hurricanes had Frederik Andersen. He's been out and trying to get himself back into this playing the game, and especially in these playoffs, because every team needs their best goalie, obviously. But Carolina, they're definitely missing Frederik Andersen, because the series is tied up at 2 apiece. But would this be a sweep, or could this be a 3-1 series if the Carolina Hurricanes had Frederik Andersen? Like, that's a question to think about. But who knows if he's going to be able to come back in this series, because he suffered a lower body injury all the way back in April 16, and he hasn't been on the ice ever since. Hopefully Andersen is able to come back maybe for a game in this series, but as of right now, it's not looking too good, because he said he's trying to put movement and put pressure on his injury on where it is, and he said he's not getting the results and going on the process that he would like to go at. So there's a good chance he ain't gonna be in this series, and this series could go 6 or 7 games. Like, this is one interesting series, because Boston was in their heads in the first 2 games. Now Carolina was in their heads for the third and 4th game. Now, final 3 games, this is going to be epic. Who is actually going to go down to the wire and win those final 2 games? Who's going to be the MVP of that team? Who's going to be the MVP of this series? Could it be Jordan Staal? Could it be Ranta? Could it be Marchand? Could it be Pasternak? Bergeron? Who could it be? Guys, these final 3 games are going to show on how epic this series can possibly be and where it's going to end up. Now, also on other hockey news, this is probably one of the most shocking things I've seen as a successful businessman in a sport for his respective team. Barry Trotz has been fired from the New York Islanders, and what blows my mind is that, yes, I get they want more wins out of it, but this dude has 900 wins. 900 wins, and he missed the playoffs just this year. That's fine. It's one bad season. And besides, this season was also really epic. We had a lot more teams get 50 wins than we all expect. Normally we'd expect maybe 2 or 3 teams, but 5+ teams got 50+ wins. But here's the thing. With Barry Trotz, I am very surprised that the Islanders let this guy go, because one, he has 900 wins, and he just missed the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. And let alone he had one crazy run of back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, and they were both against the Lightning. And if I'm correct, it was a total of 15 games. The first time was 6 games, second time was 7, and oh my God, was that series epic last year between the Islanders and the Lightning. That series was one of the best series you could have ever watched. Honestly, in hockey history. That series was absolutely ridiculous, and one shot could have changed it. And if you know what shot I'm talking about, that's Matthew Barzal accidentally whiffing on his little wrist shot to get it in the goal. If he didn't whiff on that shot, where would that series be? And how would the end of that series have played out? Who knows? But back into the Islanders. You got to the second round 3 years ago in the back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals and just achieved 900 wins about 2-3 months ago, and yet you fire this dude. This makes absolutely no sense. What? All right, that's the end of the Calvin Thomas Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Thomas Show so you don't miss out on any sports media whatsoever. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Thomas Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.